Berikashvili, researcher at the Georg August University of Göttingen and at the Ilia State University of Tbilisi, and Dr. Berikashvili will be talking about definiteness in Pontic Greek spoken in Georgia, η οριστικότητα της ομιλούμενης Ποντιακής στη Γεωργία. Dr. Berikashvili, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Θα ήθελα και εγώ εκ μέρους μου να ευχαριστήσω θερμά την Οργανωτική Επιτροπή για διοργάνωση αυτού του συνεδρίου και επίσης για την πρόσκληση, βέβαια. Είναι μεγάλη χαρά για μένα να βρίσκομαι σήμερα εδώ, έστω και εξ αποστάσεως. Και εγώ θα μιλήσω σήμερα για τα ποντιακά της Γεωργίας, που δεν έχουν μελετηθεί συστηματικά, αλλά πραγματικά είναι ένας θησαυρός που πρέπει να μελετηθεί, γιατί έχει επαφές με πολλές διαφορετικές γλώσσες. Λοιπόν, από τη γλωσσολογική άποψη, είναι μια πολύ ενδιαφέρουσα περίπτωση. Θα μιλήσω για την διαφοροποιημένη δήλωση υποκειμένου σήμερα, για την χρησιμοποίηση των άρθρων στα ποντιακά της Γεωργίας, αλλά θα μιλήσω στα αγγλικά. Okay, so now I will share my screen.
Έχετε 25 λεπτά.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Ωραία. Φαίνεται φαίνονται οι διαφάνειες.
Πολύ ωραία.
Ωραία. This presentation presents an empirical study on contact-induced changes in the domain of definiteness in Pontic Greek spoken in Georgia. Generally, the use of definite articles in Pontic Greek as spoken in Georgia is altered due to the contact with languages with no overt marking of definiteness. And this is visible in the selective retreat of definiteness marking in the polydefinite constructions, and also in over generalizations of article use in different syntactic environment. One other phenomenon is differential subject marking. Here, the peculiar is that the differential subject marking examples are extended to feminine nouns in comparison with the other Pontic varieties. First of all, I will say will give some background information about Pontic as spoken in Georgia, and when we will turn to this phenomenon. Pontic in Georgian, also called Romaica, is an endangered variety spoken in the region of Caucasus after the migration of Pontic Greeks in the 19th century. It is classified as belonging to the Trapezuntine Haldiot group of Pontic subdialects and is altered by the impact of transformational processes that caused contact-induced changes. The Pontic community of Georgia includes Pontic Greek speakers and Urum speakers, but both of them are mentioned as Pontic Greek and consist approximately of 15,000 speakers. The available publications and sources about Pontic are, of course, very much, but Pontic in Georgian has been less systematically investigated. There are some works of Lazarev, of Eloeva, of Mikaberidze and Shahbazidi, but unfortunately, it yet lacks systematic investigation. So the research question which I will discuss in this presentation is about what innovations are observed in Pontic Greek spoken in Georgian in the definiteness domain, and if this differential subject marking is different in comparison with other Pontic varieties. DSM, the innovation which we observe is that DSM is extended to feminine nouns, IC-free, so inflection class free, and there is no restriction just to one class. The contents and the roadmap of the presentation is like follows. I will start with some background information on Pontic spoken in Georgian. Here some differential subject marking illustrative examples will be presented, inflection classes and corpus data on which this research is based. And when I will turn to the research itself, to the illustrated material from the corpus and judgment experiments. When I will talk about empirical findings, and the last point is a discussion. Okay, so Pontic Greek as spoken in Georgian exhibits differential subject marking. Differential subject marking is a phenomenon in a that exists in a language if some subjects have a different case, agree differently, or occur in different positions than others. In a narrower sense, such differences are regarded to be DSM effects only if they depend on the features of the subject in some way. And in Pontic Greek, we have its use in this narrower sense as it depends on the definiteness. Some languages differentiate their subjects on the basis of form, such as being pronoun or not, others on the basis of semantic features, such as being a real agent, volitional, in control or not, and still others distinguish their subjects on the basis of causal features. Pontic distinguishes its subjects on the basis of semantic feature, and this semantic feature is definiteness. And it has contact with languages which have also some similar phenomena. For example, Georgian exhibits also differential subject marking, but this differential subject marking is based on causal features and not on the semantic features. So it's mainly based on tense and aspect distinction and not on the definiteness as in Pontic. Now, what we are talking about DSM in Pontic. Definiteness specification in Pontic is present in the following way. In the presence of the definite article, the noun head of the DP appears in the accusative case, while in the presence of the indefinite article or bare DP, it appears in the nominative case. So this is attested in all Pontic varieties and is described in related literature, starting from Papadopoulos, Economidis, Tombaidis, and so on. So you have here some references on the screen, so you can see who have been worked on this phenomenon. In DSM in Pontic as spoken in Georgia has not been yet investigated, so this is the first attempt to find if it is different from the phenomenon which has been already reported for our Pontic varieties. Here you see the example of the DSM instances of Pontic, Ophion Ipen and Inas Phios Ipen. So Ophion is used with an accusative marker, while bare DP or DP with the indefinite article is used with the nominative marker. The main thing still is here that the case of the whole DP is not altered, and this is indicated by the article, which is presented in the nominative form, Ophion. So to some point, these putative cases of DSM in Pontic are disputable if they are DSM, real DSM instances. These DSM instances depend on the inflection classes and depend on the gender of the head noun. You will see now main Pontic noun inflection classes. This classification is based on Angela Ralli's classification of modern Greek, and it is also characteristic to Pontic. So we see here 8 inflectional classes, and the difference from the modern Greek is that the first 3 classes, which have masculine and feminine nouns, can be subdivided by plus human and minus human features. So here we have noun inflection classes with semantic differentiation. In this study, we used the examples mainly from with 3 classes, because here we can observe on the morphological level the difference of nominative and accusative cases. I mean, here we have different markers for nominative and accusative, so we can assume if there is differential subject marking. Also, some examples of IC6 of neuter nouns have been included in the study, but we'll talk about these examples later on. The corpus data on which this research is based is collected during fieldwork periods in the Pontic Greek community of Georgia, and it's collected by different persons, by Kotanidi, Berikashvili, and Skopeteas, and the final version is uploaded to the TLA, so it's available to the scientific community. Then the next stage was to make some judgment experiments to test the grammaticality and acceptability of some constructions. The quantity of data is, as it's indicated on the screen, 435 media and LM files, and the average word count per speaker is 956 words. So in total, 57 native-speaking informants, consultants have been recorded, and in total the corpus contains approximately 60,000 words. So all the informants produced narratives on the same topics, namely this was ancestors, family, village, culture, people, marriage, feasts, and language, so that the data is comparable. Additional judgment experiments checking acceptability rank of several phenomena according to the Likert scales are at the moment are data only from 7 native-speaking informants. Here you can see some samples, not samples, but what factors we have indicated in the experiment study. Experiments with masculine DPs, which have plus-minus definite specification, the use of the sentences in the different syntactic environments, like the same DPs as subject in nominative accusative and as object in accusative, and examples in singular and plural. For the masculines, the inflection class was IC1 and IC2, and for the feminines, the inflection class was IC3 with different endings. For the third experiment, which is about neuter nouns, there on the morphological level, we cannot see the difference between nominative and accusative use, and if there is differential agreement marker, but still these examples have been included to test some different additional questions which we needed for the study. The results, the empirical findings of this work is as follows. We can see that DSM may occur in Pontic as spoken in Georgian, not only with masculine nouns, IC1, as stated for other Pontic varieties, but also with feminines, IC3. Here we have, you see, in example 2, the example in IC1, ojeron eruksen, tikrean ekuksen, but in the example 3, we see differential subject marking, so accusative marking on the head noun, already in feminine nouns, so IC3, gearet, eruksen, ihari. One other thing that we can observe is that no restriction is on animacy. So differential subject marking can be used both with animates, animates human and non-human, and in animate nouns. This is indicated in the example 4 and in the example 5. Opetinon en salon apan, topondiako itan ogamon, and so on. At this point, there is that there is no restriction on animacy. There is no difference with the other Pontic varieties. So here we have the same patterns as in other Pontic varieties. DSM here in Pontic Greek as spoken in Georgia is not restricted by the inflection class. or number in masculines. And this is already different and peculiar. For example, we see the example o ilin paisi mananats, where the form of o ilin is from the initial form o iles, the sun. And in the example 7, we see that even this differential subject marking is not restricted by the number. So we have eftakosia anthropos borun narthun siharan. So we have here this form anthropos, which is in accusative, but it is in the subject position and not in the object positions. One other thing is that examples are found also with loan words, and this is very important because this indicates that at least not for Turkish loan words, as is indicated, for example, in example 8, but for Russian or for Georgian loans, it indicates that this peculiarity is characteristic to the variety which is spoken in Georgia or by Pontic Greek community of Georgia. Here are the example like Toromeikon ikalachin or Temeteron familia neton etosunant. We see everywhere this accusative marker in the subject position. Here is the sample you can see in table 3, the sample for the several examples with masculines, I say 1, and the rate of their acceptance. So here the main aim was to answer the questions on what rate is DSM acceptable with DPs containing feminine nouns, and this is indicated in the test sample with feminines IC3, and is DSM acceptable with other inflectional classes? For example, here we have these examples are just for IC1, but the other were also produced for IC2 to see if these are acceptable for native-speaking informants, and if DSM is acceptable in plural formation as well. So here I provide now just some figures to highlight the main results, and the main thing to answer on here was to what rate definite article plus accusative case marker in the subject position is acceptable to IC1, IC2, and IC3. The acceptance rate here is given in percents, and according to this figure, DPs with a definite determiner and accusative case marker are more likely to be acceptable for native-speaking consultants than DPs containing DPs contain IC1 and IC3. So the first question, if was answered positively, DSM is acceptable with DPs containing feminine nouns. The results for IC2, on the other hand, show that subject nominals with both patterns, definite plus accusative and definite plus nominative, are accepted, though mean acceptance rates are significantly lower here than those for IC1 and IC3, and they are used interchangeably. Figure 2 illustrates the same patterns for plural forms. Here, the exact percentage is indicated on the figures. So what this figure shows is that plural formation shows that both forms are acceptable for IC1 and IC2. However, the acceptance rate shows that canonical marked subjects are preferable in these cases. Besides, the last research question is also answered positively because DSM occurs and is accepted with IC1 and IC2 nominals in plural. Comparing with figures, it can be stated with IC2, is not very common with DSM use, both in singular and plural. So here we have some examples with neuters, which are disputable, of course, but which have this n ending in the plural neuter nouns. This n ending here could be, of course, a phonological thing, but the interesting thing is that this n marker is added only when the article appears. So from this point of view, it can be somehow indicating that there is some in the structure, there is something which triggers the differentiation of subjects and objects, and with differential subject marking, even in the neuter nouns. But these examples, of course, have to be investigated more precisely, and it has been to clarify what really this n indicates. Is it phonological? Is it to avoid hiatus? Is it just parasite n, or is it used by the analogy with the accusative marker to indicate some kind of difference? This needs definitely additional investigation and additional explanation. But the thing is that this shows that Pontic has in its structure, in its syntactic structure, some mechanism which allows to use a differential subject marking. So I'm not running out of time yet, so I will just summarize some points. The main thing is from this empirical finding that in comparison with our Pontic varieties, the DSM is restricted to a certain inflection class, namely IC1, masculine nouns and ending in os and singular number. Pontic varieties spoken in Georgian has the instances of other inflection classes as well. Masculines IC2, though not very frequent use, and feminines IC3, which are used both in singular and plural. This is something which can lead us to the further discussion and to further theoretical analysis of the results. So I will also present just some points for the discussion which can be useful for the desiderata of the work. And the main question here, also, of course, is what triggers this differential subject marking and why it has innovative use in Pontic as spoken in Georgian. And here we can have different explanations. It can be both from the language internal factors and language external factors, and from the combination of all factors. Of course, one of the factors is that there is diachronic preservation and diachronic examples of differential marking from medieval Greek. This has been reported by Lavidas in his work of 2020, where he discussed some examples for accusative case marking for subjects use of accusative of finite verbs, which were found in papyri of the Byzantine period, and relates this accusative case marking to the development of the voice from ancient to modern Greek. So it definitely shows that Pontic as a dialect which has this I would say diachronic things. It has also preserved this differential marking phenomenon from medieval Greek. Though in medieval Greek it's different, that the whole DP gets here accusative case marker, not just the head noun of the DP. But this head noun of the DP is common grammatical feature of Asia Minor Greek dialects, and this has been also reported by other researchers, starting from Dawkins, Yance, even Karatsares had also worked on this. So this indicates that both these possibilities exist in the diachronic, from one point in the diachronic Greek and from the other point in Asia Minor Greek dialects. Now, language external factors could be influence of, and this has been also reported in the literature, influence of Turkish differential object marking, and for Pontic as spoken in Georgian, it could be that here we have influence of Georgian differential subject marking. But here we have also one other possibility, and this possibility is what we have here. We can have here also influence of Russian language, which does not have this phenomenon, but which caused the increase of feminine nouns in understudied variety due to the incorporation of Russian loans, and subsequently extended differential subject marking to IC3 as well. This can explain just IC3 examples. But this all these works have also, all this has to be worked in the future. Yeah, I'm out of time. So thank you for your attention. This is all what I wanted to report today.
Dr. Berikashvili, thank you very much for your inspiring talk.
Thank you.
Θα υπάρξει η κυρία Πιλαλίδου. Έχω την πληροφορία ότι η κυρία Πιλαλίδου θα προσπαθήσει να μας δώσει μια σύντομη περίληψη στα ελληνικά.
Σωστά. Γεια σας και από μένα, τόσο εδώ διαζώσεις όσο και εξ αποστάσεως. Η κυρία Berikashvili με την παρούσα εισήγηση παρουσίασε μια εμπειρική μελέτη αναφορικά με την οριστικότητα της ποντιακής διαλέκτου, όπως αυτή ομιλείται στη Γεωργία και στις αλλαγές που επήλθαν από την επαφή της με άλλες γλώσσες όπως ρωσική, τουρκική κτλ. Αρχικά η ελληνική ποντιακή διάλεκτος ήταν ευρέως διαδεδομένη στην περιοχή του Πόντου μέχρι τις αρχές του 20ου αιώνα. Μετά το διωγμό των Ελλήνων ποντίων μεταφέρθηκε στη Γεωργία, όπου εκεί είναι γνωστή επίσης με την ονομασία Ρωμαϊκά και κατατάσσεται στην τραπεζουντιανή χαλδιώτικη ομάδα ποντιακών υποδιαλέκτων. Έχει τροποποιηθεί από τις αλλαγές που προκλήθηκαν από τις επαφές με άλλες γλώσσες, ενώ η διάλεκτος Ουρούμ συμπεριλαμβάνεται στην ποντιόφωνη κοινότητα της Γεωργίας. Η έρευνά της βασίζεται σε ερευνητικά δεδομένα, τα οποία συλλέχθηκαν από ομιλώντες της ποντιακής ως μητρική γλώσσα. Χρησιμοποιήθηκαν 435 αρχεία πολυμέσων, αυθόρμητου και ημιαυθόρμητου λόγου. Δεδομένου ότι η ποντιακή διάλεκτος στην περιοχή της Γεωργίας αποτελεί μια υποεξαφάνιση γλωσσική ποικιλία, ολόκληρη η συλλογή βασίζεται σε ηχογραφήσεις 57 φυσικών δειγμάτων, 24 άντρες και 33 γυναίκες, με ηλικιακό εύρος 22 έως 88 έτη. Όλες οι πληροφορίες προήλθαν από αφηγήσεις ποικίλων θεμάτων, από μεταφράσεις διαφόρων προτάσεων, από περιγραφή εικόνων και μέσω αυθόρμητων συνεντεύξεων. Τα δεδομένα χωρίστηκαν στα διάφορα στάδια της μεταναστευτικής ροής των Ελλήνων του Πόντου από και προς τη Γεωργία, από την εσωτερική μετανάστευση και από τη μετανάστευση προς τις χώρες της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης. Η ηλικιακή διαφορά των δειγμάτων επιλέχθηκε να έχει τέτοιο εύρος, ώστε να παρατηρηθεί αν εναλλάσσεται η γλώσσα μεταξύ σταδίων, αλλά και μεταξύ διαφόρων γενεών. Με αυτόν τον τρόπο γίνεται αφενός η τεκμηρίωση της γλώσσας και η συλλογή κειμένων για μετέπειτα μελέτη της και των όποιων αλλαγών αυτή υφίσταται, και αφετέρου η διευκρίνηση της χρήσης διαφορετικών γλωσσικών φαινομένων στην υπομελέτη γλωσσική ποικιλία της ποντιακής διαλέκτου. Οι μέθοδοι που χρησιμοποιήθηκαν για τη μελέτη είναι η εξαγωγή από το κείμενο, πειράματα κατανόησης και κριτικής. Η ανάλυση των δεδομένων περιέλαμβανε τα εξής στάδια: την άντληση και παρατήρηση υλικού από το κείμενο, ή τη σύγκριση του συγκεντρωμένου υλικού με άλλες γλωσσικές ποικιλίες της ποντιακής, ενώ για τη λήψη των δεδομένων κάθε πείραμα περιείχε 3 βασικούς παράγοντες: την οριστικότητα, το γένος και τον αριθμό. Οι πληροφοριοδότες, όσοι τη μιλούν ως μητρική γλώσσα, βαθμολόγησαν τα στοιχεία με κλίμακα Λίκερτ 1 έως 5 και στο τελευταίο στάδιο της μελέτης έγιναν γενικεύσεις βασιζόμενα στα αποτελέσματα αυτά. Τα εμπειρικά ευρήματα έδειξαν ότι στη γλωσσική ποικιλία, όπως αυτή ομιλείται από την ποντιακή κοινότητα της Γεωργίας, δείχνουν ότι η διαφορική δήλωση αντικειμένου εμφανίζεται στο θηλυκό γένος, στην κλητική τάξη IC2 και στον πληθυντικό των αρσενικών σε οριστικό και αιτιατική και οριστικό και ονομαστική. Επομένως, φαίνεται η ιδιομορφία συγκριτικά με άλλες ποικιλίες. Παρατηρήθηκε επίσης πως η ποντιακή διάλεκτος διατήρησε τα παλιά χαρακτηριστικά της ιωνικής διαλέκτου στην ελληνιστική κοινή και ρωμαϊκή εποχή και στη μεσαιωνική ελληνική, όπως παραδείγματος χάρη η κοινή χρήση της αιτιατικής για τον προσδιορισμό υποκειμένων. Η ύπαρξη παρόμοιων φαινομένων μέσα στην ιστορική συνέχεια των διαλέκτων της ελληνικής της Μικράς Ασίας μέχρι και τα βυζαντινά χρόνια αποδεικνύει την ύπαρξη ενός κοινού εσωτερικού παράγοντα που ενεργοποιεί τη χρήση της οριστικότητας στη δήλωση υποκειμένου, η οποία επιταχύνθηκε και από την επαφή με εξωτερικούς παράγοντες. Η ποντιακή διάλεκτος βρισκόταν πάντα μέσα σε ένα πολύγλωσσο περιβάλλον, έχοντας εκτεταμένη επαφή με τα τουρκικά, τα αρμενικά και με άλλες καρδελικές γλώσσες όπως τα λαζικά, καθώς επίσης και με τη ρωσική, γεγονός που ενίσχυσε και το δανεισμό ανάμεσα σε αυτές τις γλώσσες, τόσο λεξικά όσο και γραμματικά. Σας ευχαριστώ.
Σας ευχαριστούμε πολύ για αυτή τη χρήσιμη παρουσίαση, σύντομη αλλά περιεκτική. Και περνούμε τώρα στο διάλειμμα. Έχουμε 1/4 διάλειμμα. Είναι 12 και 4. Ακριβώς 12 και 30 θα αρχίσουμε με την παρουσίαση του Μαξίμ Κισιλιέ.